You've been told your handwriting looks like a doctor's prescription, or worse, like a spider fell into an ink jar and had a seizure. But here's what nobody tells you about messy handwriting. It's not a flaw, it's a signal. And what it reveals about your brain might actually shock you. See, for decades, teachers labeled kids with terrible handwriting as lazy, careless, unfocused. But neuroscience flipped that script entirely. Because the truth, your handwriting isn't about discipline. It's about how fast your brain works. And that changes everything. Studies from the National Institutes of Health found something fascinating. People with messy handwriting often have brains that process information faster than their hands can keep up. Their thoughts move like lightning. But their pen? It's still stuck in the storm. This isn't sloppiness, it's cognitive overflow. And the people who experience it, they're usually operating on a completely different frequency. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside your brain when you write. Most people think handwriting is a simple motor skill. You learn it in childhood. You repeat it forever. But that's not how it works. Handwriting is one of the most complex neurological tasks a human performs. It requires your brain to coordinate visual processing, motor control, memory recall, language centers, all at the same time. Now imagine your brain is a Ferrari, and your hand? It's the steering wheel. If your thoughts are racing at 200 miles per hour, but your hand can only write at 30, something's got to give, and what gives is neatness. People with messy handwriting aren't struggling with control. They're struggling with speed. Their ideas outpace their ability to physically capture them. And that's not a weakness, that's intensity. If you've ever felt embarrassed about your handwriting, understand this. You've been judging yourself through the wrong lens. Society conditions us to value presentation over substance, clean lines over creative chaos. But some of the most brilliant minds in history had handwriting that looked like ancient hieroglyphics. Einstein, Freud, Napoleon. Their notebooks were battlefields of scribbled genius because their brains didn't have time to make things pretty. They were too busy making things matter. Here's where it gets deeper. Psychologists have identified a personality linked to handwriting, and it's not what you'd expect. People with messy handwriting tend to score higher in trait openness. That's one of the big 5 personality traits. It means they're more creative, curious, abstract in their thinking. They don't follow rigid mental pathways. They explore, they diverge, they connect dots others can't see. This is why artists, writers, inventors, they often have handwriting that looks like organized chaos. Because their minds don't work in straight lines. They work in webs, in spirals, in dimensions most people can't access. Now here's the part most people miss. Bad handwriting can also be a form of unconscious rebellion. Think about it. We're taught from age 5 that perfect handwriting equals good behavior, that neatness equals obedience. But what if your brain rejects that script? What if, on some deep level, your subconscious refuses to conform? Messy handwriting can be a quiet act of defiance, a refusal to fit into boxes, a signal that says, "I'm not here to color inside the lines. I'm here to redraw them." Let's talk about the hidden advantage, because people with bad handwriting develop something most others don't. Cognitive flexibility. When your handwriting is messy, your brain learns to adapt. You become less dependent on external structure. You learn to think fluidly, to pivot, to improvise. Studies show that individuals with poor handwriting often excel in problem solving, strategic thinking, creative ideation, because they've trained their brains to work outside rigid frameworks. They don't need everything to be perfect to move forward. They embrace the chaos. And in a world that's constantly changing, that's not just useful, it's survival. So if you've spent years feeling ashamed of your handwriting, let that go. You're not broken. You're not careless. You're wired differently, and that wiring, it's given you gifts most people don't have. The ability to think faster, to see wider, to create without constraint. Your handwriting isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your velocity. And in a world that worships speed and innovation, you're already ahead. Here's what I want you to remember. Handwriting is just a tool. It's not your identity. It's not your intelligence. It's not your value. What matters is what's inside your mind, the ideas you generate, the connections you make, the way you see the world. Messy handwriting is often the byproduct of a mind that refuses to slow down. And that's not something to hide. It's something to honor. Because the world doesn't need more people who write neatly. It needs more people who think deeply. And if your handwriting looks like chaos, maybe it's because your mind is creating order in places others can't even reach. So own it. Every scribble, every illegible letter. Because behind that messy handwriting is a mind that moves too fast to be contained. And that's exactly how it should be. If this changed the way you see yourself, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.